It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Penguins propose with pebbles. Adelie penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders, and revolutions. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage, but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Did you know there are 1,500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. Hard to believe, but in Madagascar, there is a tree that walks. The baobab tree in Madagascar is known for its roots that can move several meters in search of water. While the tree itself does not move, its root system grows towards sources of moisture, crossing large patches of land. This unique ability allows baobabs to survive in drought conditions and become even more resilient. This species of plants has long intrigued biologists, who are still trying to unravel all the secrets of how these ancient giants survive. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Did you know that medieval winemakers used ton as a measurement? In the Middle Ages, the term ton was a standard unit of measurement used to quantify wine. 1 ton referred to the volume of wine that could fill a large cask. This old unit of measurement was integral to the wine trade across Europe, shaping commerce and trade routes. Today, the term may seem outdated, but its legacy lives on in the language of winemakers and traders, reminding us of how ancient practices have shaped modern traditions. The flight of the chicken. Why don't chickens fly like eagles? Imagine this. The longest flight a chicken has ever made lasted only 13 seconds. Although chickens have wings, they aren't designed for long flights. Unlike eagles and other birds, chickens can only take short hops and fly a few meters by flapping their wings. This feature is due to their anatomy. Their bodies are too heavy, and their wing muscles are not developed enough for sustained flight. However, in rare cases, chickens can cover significant distances, but this is the exception rather than the rule. So next time you see a chicken, remember, it may be a bird, but it's far from being an aerial creature. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Sleeping with one eye open. How dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Can you imagine sharks that walk on the ocean floor? Yes, there are sharks that literally walk on the sea floor. These amazing creatures are known as epaulet sharks and belong to the genus Hemicillium. They use their fins like legs, moving across the ocean floor in search of food. This ability allows them to hunt even in the shallowest areas of reefs where swimming would be difficult. Their unique adaptation makes them true walking sharks among their kind. Isn't this an example of how incredible nature can be, giving a marine predator such unusual skills? Octopuses are the interior designers of the ocean you never knew about. Octopuses aren't just smart, they are also the artists of the underwater world. These fascinating creatures love collecting shiny shells, stones, and other treasures to decorate their underwater homes. They create underwater gardens around their dens, meticulously arranging everything. This shows not only their survival skills, but also their sense of artistry. Their homes are not just beautiful, but also designed to protect them from predators and attract the attention of other octopuses. Who would have thought that these sea creatures had such a talent for interior design? Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Can you believe the world's smallest monkey weighs only 100 grams? The pygmy marmoset, native to the Amazon rainforest, is the world's tiniest monkey. Measuring only 15 centimeters in length and weighing just 100 grams, these miniature primates have big eyes, a long tail, and live in family groups of up to 9 members. They survive by feeding on tree sap, insects, and fruit. Despite their small size, these tiny monkeys are full of life and energy. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. It turns out that in some countries you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket, and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. Is it true that in Argentina there is a river that burns? The Quirecura River in Argentina is famous for its unusual fiery phenomena. Periodically, fiery geysers erupt from its depths. This happens due to underground methane deposits, which ignite when they come into contact with air. Amazingly, this river is not only a beautiful natural phenomenon but also raises concerns among scientists, as constant gas emissions could signal larger natural disasters. Locals call it the River of Spirits, linking it to ancient legends. Did you know that only 1/10 of an iceberg's mass is visible? When we see an iceberg, it may seem like just a big block of ice. However, 90% of its volume is hidden underwater. This happens because the density of ice is lower than that of seawater, causing most of the iceberg to remain beneath the surface. That's why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. Their true size is much larger than what is visible above the water. The Great Barrier Reef, a giant, natural wonder. The Great Barrier Reef is not only the largest living structure on Earth, but also a bustling underwater city where thousands of species of fish, coral, and other marine creatures reside. It stretches over 2,300 kilometers along Australia's coast and is even visible from space. This natural wonder plays a crucial role in maintaining the ocean's ecosystem by filtering water and providing shelter for marine life. Unfortunately, climate change and ocean pollution threaten its existence. Scientists worldwide are working to preserve this astonishing underwater world for future generations. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast. But there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. What does a sunset on Mars look like? You'll be amazed. Imagine watching a sunset on Mars, where the sky doesn't turn red like it does on Earth, but blue. This unique phenomenon happens because of how the thin Martian atmosphere scatters sunlight. Unlike Earth's thick atmosphere that gives us those fiery reds and oranges, the Martian atmosphere bends light in a way that turns the sky into a stunning shade of blue. It's a cosmic anomaly that makes Mars feel like its own special planet. The next time you watch a sunset here on Earth, think about how it must be on Mars. 857 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film Logistics is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours. That's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost a month and a half of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that logistics could be so long? Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Chocolate cosmos. Imagine a flower that smells like chocolate. The chocolate cosmos. Cosmos atrosanguineus is a flower that might surprise you with its scent, reminiscent of real chocolate. This dark red flower, native to Central America, is so rare that it's almost extinct in the wild. Yet it continues to be cultivated in gardens worldwide to enjoy its unique aroma. Imagine strolling through a garden where, instead of floral scents, you breathe in the sweet, enticing smell of chocolate. It's nature's gift to those with a sweet tooth. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. Have you ever thought about the fact that you can see a double rainbow on Mars? Surprisingly, it's true. On Mars, you can sometimes witness not just one, but a double rainbow. However, these aren't the rainbows we're used to seeing on Earth. The Martian atmosphere is so thin that ordinary raindrops don't form, but rainbows can appear due to fine dust and ice crystals floating in the air. Even though there's no rain on Mars, these dusty rainbows look particularly mesmerizing. But if you want to see one, you'll have to wait. Martian weather phenomena happen very rarely. There is a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus, and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Imagine for a moment, frogs can freeze, but not die. Have you ever wondered how nature copes with winter's cold? Some species of frogs have found an incredible way to survive the winter. They literally freeze but don't die. Their bodies produce a special antifreeze that prevents ice from damaging their cells. As soon as the temperature rises, these frogs simply thaw out and go on living as if nothing happened. This amazing mechanism is yet another testament to nature's incredible adaptation to harsh conditions. Did you know that in France there's a house with a negative number? In the town of Rocamadour, France, you can find a house numbered -1. This building was constructed under a cliff, below street level. When the other houses were numbered, the ground level houses were already given 0 and 1. This unusual designation has now become a local landmark and a curiosity for tourists. After all, it's not every day you see a house with a negative number. Believe it or not, octopuses have 3 hearts and 9 brains. Octopuses aren't just extraordinarily smart. They are also built in incredibly unique ways. They have 3 hearts that pump blue blood and 9 brains, 1 central brain and 8 mini brains in each tentacle. These mini brains allow each tentacle to move independently, almost as if they have their own will. Octopuses are so unique that scientists consider them one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth. It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. Could it be possible? The Pyramids of Giza were once colorful. When the Pyramids of Giza were first built, their surfaces were covered with smooth white limestone slabs, which reflected sunlight and made them appear bright and sparkling. At the top, there was likely a golden pyramidion, giving the pyramid a dazzling look. Over time, the white stone eroded, and the pyramids became what we see today, stark but still majestic. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean, 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built.